Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of the Brave Companions in the Dolmenwood, our alternate game. Jesse couldn't make it tonight, so we got together without him to play some OSE. However, I forgot to adjust the audio inputs, so yeah, the recording came out without sound. This is something I've done before, and I'm sure I will do in the future. I do have a plan, though. I'm going to put a big sticky note on my monitor that says check audio inputs. So that's my plan. Okay, so I started out the session here. I was showing off the new little macros that I've made for the Foundry, the OSE Foundry that I'm using here. So I've got this cool little macro that moves the time between morning or dawn, morning, afternoon, dusk, night, a late night, and then back to dawn. And I think this will come in handy when we get back to hex crawling. Tonight's adventure's more of a dungeon crawl, so not really that useful. But then I'm also showing off here, I created a macro to roll the weather. You can see that today's weather is warm and sunny. And then I also created some macros to keep track of torches and stuff like that during dungeon turns. I think that's what I'm showing off here. With that little time passing. So I just have to remember to hit my little macro button whenever I want a turn to go by. And during this session, I forgot to do that already. So but it I think it'll work if I can just get in the habit of it. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit here. So the last we had some technical issues with the Foundry maps. So the last episode, the guys had finally found the entrance to the burial mound that they were searching for. The Minimus's character is being kind of led on by this elf who wants this ring that's supposedly in this burial mound, and then the Madrome has had a job offer from the wizard back in Prigwort that he also wants the ring. So so they found this burial mound. They've camped, and now they are heading towards it. The first thing they encounter is this ring of standing stones with some weird statues and they're not statues, they're iron owls that are tied to these rocks. And so I think Minimus grabbed one of those and stuffed it in his pack. They also found this like twitching stag with some green goo on it, which is kind of the first time they see this green goo, which they'll see it more later on. Let's skip ahead. They move through there. They found the entrance to the barrow here. After some attempts at just moving the stone that's blocking the entrance, Madrome has a brilliant idea to use some logs or sticks as a leverage, and he makes a great intelligence roll. So I let him move it enough where even Minimus can fit his rather bulky self through the entrance, which leads to some stairs down into the burial mound. Skip ahead here. Some more issues with so we had issues with the Foundry so that the whole map was visible, which was kind of annoying, especially to the part later where they get the secret door is right there, obviously, for all to see. But anyway, the first room here, they encounter some objects on these little plinths in this corner of these rooms, and as soon as a non-lawful character steps in, these things animate and attack. So that's what happens here. You can see my choice for images. I think everybody got a kick out of that. But this was a surprisingly epic battle with these little 2 hit point objects. I think the way it came out, Minimus was able to subdue the crucifix and stash it in his pack, which is good because that's the only one that the book actually gives a monetary value to. The rest of them are pretty worthless. But they finally defeat them after an epic battle. Let's see. Okay, and now they decide to move north through the stone door there, and they come across these skeletons that are dancing in midair in this room. And so after a lot of kind kind of exploring, they find out that this green goo is kind of dripping down from the ceiling into this hole there, and it's gotten all over the skeletons, which is making them fly. And you can see my wonderful imitation of dancing skeletons. Then, so they come up with a pretty funny plan that they knock the lid off of one of the coffins and they put some of the slime on it, and then they use it to kind of smash the skeletons, because the skeletons were wearing some necklaces that they thought could be worth some money, and in true old school player greed, they just had to kill these innocent skeletons. And I was gonna make it fail spectacularly, but then they rolled these really good rolls, so you know, I took half the hit points off of the skeletons with the attack, that initial attack, which helped the group kind of mop up and defeat them. Here's my my animated GIF that of the dancing skeleton. Let's see. Okay, so they moved north again. They came to this room with these pillars and these statues of these hounds, and a door that said "Call to the Companions." Madrome could tell that the door was magically locked, but he still touched it with his stick, which made one of the statue dogs come to life. But luckily they're chained, so he was able to escape before it was able to get him. But yeah, they weren't able to figure out the riddle, which yeah, they don't have all the information they need for that riddle right now. So they decided to kind of retreat from this room and move west down that corridor. Let's skip ahead here. Yeah, so they come to an old chapel, and they investigate this statue and this candle there. I think Minimus grabbed the statue, brought it with him. I'm not sure if he... I think I said it was too big to fit in his pack, so he had to carry it in his arms, and then of course we forgot about it. So it'll be interesting to see if he was able to hold that through the rest of this adventure. So yeah, then they find this tapestry here on the western wall. This is what I was talking about. The secret door is obviously right there. They open the door, and then they get into this fateful battle here against these 3 worm tongues, which are like giant worms with like teeth, like a big round teeth orifice. And yeah, they these things had 4 hit points each, so I didn't think it was going to turn into this huge thing, but yeah, it did. And yeah, Madrome ended up getting his face bit off, and he died. And then I gave control of Pierce over to Chris, and surprisingly they kept fighting on. Jackie then was consumed by these worms, and yeah, I thought they were going to keep on fighting. I gave them 1 turn with having the worms consume the corpse of Madrome, and which gave them a little bit of time, and luckily they did decide to run. They were able to grab the party treasury, which Madrome was carrying, but unfortunately Madrome and Jackie are no more. Pierce and Minimus fled back into the chapel room there, and then they fled south, which could have been a horrible mistake, because that's actually the next room is a room they hadn't explored, but there wasn't anything in there except for a statue. Let's skip ahead here. I kind of wanted to get my description of what happens to Madrome. Oh, I guess I already missed it. Yeah, I maimed his face being ripped, or I mimed his face being ripped off, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, so as I was saying, the 2 survivors flee back. Oh, I guess I didn't change the view, but they flee back to the south, where the room has a statue in it, and then they escape from the dungeon. I think their plan is to get their treasure that they have accumulated so far back to town, hopefully level up to 2nd level, and then use some of that money to hire some hirelings, and then yeah, I'll introduce a couple new characters back in town, and then they can come back and try this dungeon again. I think Minimus especially is convinced that he he needs to find this ring, and he needs to get it to this elf lady. But yeah, as you can see, we had a really good session, and I'm really sad that it's that the recording was messed up. But hopefully this will help you follow along in our future adventures in the Dolmenwood. Thanks again for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next week.